All right, guys, welcome to the show, Stay Creative, where we encourage positive people to stay creative during this crazy pandemic. I got a very special friend right here. I got Sarah on board. Let's hear it for Sarah. All right, welcome to the show. How are you today?
I'm good. How are you?
Very, very good. So I'm just going to cut right to the chase. If you could tell us how you are staying creative during this crazy pandemic.
Well, trying to do the best I can. I am a single mom, and I have 3 kids that I'm trying to work from home and homeschool. And I pretty much haven't talked to another adult in person in 2.5 months, besides maybe the
Wow.
cashier at the grocery store. Yeah, so really not any adult interaction. So trying to find ways to still connect with people and talk to people and stay sane to help school and raise my kids.
So how old are the kids?
So the boys will be 13 and 10 in July, and then I have a 6-year-old daughter.
Okay, so at least you have the older ones who can take care of the younger one a little bit.
Sure.
So what are some of the things you're doing with the kids to kind of keep the variety up? Because I know, like, just being stuck at home all this time, it can be challenging. It feels like Groundhog Day.
It does. We searched out a pool. It was quite an adventure because everybody right now wants a pool, because what else are you going to do? So we found one, and like you said, thank goodness my oldest can help. Put a pool up. They've been swimming in the backyard in between bouts of schooling. So they know they have to do about an hour in the morning, then they can swim for a little bit, then they come back in, finish their schoolwork, that sort of thing. We've had a lot of picnics in the middle of the family room. Something different to do. We also just moved into a new house in the beginning of April to add to the chaos. So we have picnics in various rooms, mainly because we're not completely unpacked yet. So changes it up a little bit, gives them something different to do. They've been much more involved in cooking and deciding what we're going to eat, and helping in the kitchen and that sort of thing. So just trying to do homeschool a little bit differently. They've been baking so they can actually use measuring cups and things like that. So, tools that they're going to need to grow up and be a normal human being, hopefully.
So a couple weeks back on social media, I saw that you were pretty frustrated, very much deserved, because you had, 3 against 1. Can you talk about that moment?
I kind of lost it. The kids were just leaving stuff everywhere. There were cups and socks and pizza boxes, and I lost it. And we were eating dinner, and the 3 of them were just fighting about nonsense. And I started crying, at the dinner table, and they all kind of stopped and went, Mom doesn't really do this. And I just said, guys, I'm at my wit's end. And I said, there's 3 of you and 1 of me, and I need you to help me out more. And they kind of all sat for a while and didn't really know how to react. And for the next maybe 20 minutes, things were good. And then progressively found more socks and cups. But we're getting there. We made a chore list. So, that was one of our goals of moving into this house, of everyone needs to be responsible, and giving them specific things that they need to do in order to earn rewards, like, playing on their iPad or the Wii or that sort of thing. So we're getting there. We're trying to get a little bit of structure back into place. It's just been chaos, as it is for everybody. But definitely have been reaching out to a lot of friends and trying to connect with people, because it's really hard not talking to another adult. Besides, I talk to my dog and my cat pretty much when the kids aren't here. So,
well, are they good? Do they listen to you?
Sort of. I mean, they look at me and like lovingly. So I'm like, well, I could probably say whatever I want as long as it was in a nice tone. They probably would still be fine with that.
Yeah, the good thing is they probably don't talk back, so that's a
No,
good thing
right.
about pets.
True.
All right,
True.
so let's talk about a little lighter topic. I know that you also have been trying to get into the dating scene. Maybe you could talk about that and what that's kind of the challenges during this time.
It's weird. So the I'm doing online dating, and the the people that you connect with that are really nice human beings, it's actually been kind of great. There's not a lot of pressure to meet. You can actually have like good conversations and get to know the people. But then there just are some really weird people out there that send pictures and say weird stuff. And so I've tried to make it as lighthearted as possible. I mean, I can only really laugh at myself. And I've shared some of them with folks to just say, like, hey, look at the stuff that I can experience. And aren't you glad that you're still married? So it's been challenging. And, really not being able to go out and meet anybody. It's tempting now that businesses are starting to kind of open back up, but at the same time, I'm not quite ready to kind of step out into that quite yet.
Yeah, I mean, bringing in a new person into that environment, and then, like you said, with all the dynamics of not being able to leave your home in and out, and now with all these protests, that just
Right.
adds to that level of anxiety I can imagine.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
So, without getting into too much detail, what was probably the funniest response you've gotten from someone?
Uh,
Keep it up, PG for our younger audience.
there was this like kind of like two or three people in a row that I mean, right off the bat, the first message was something about like spanking. And you kind of go, I don't, one, what? Two, I don't
uh,
know you, and why? So, there's so many times that I want to respond like, does this work? Do, women respond to this? But I really don't really want to engage with any of those people. So usually I just chuckle, sometimes take a screenshot and share it, and then just move on because it maybe works for them. I don't know, but yeah, it's been interesting.
well, I would like to know if maybe you could give some advice to our audience on how to stay creative, and definitely you have to generate the inspiration from yourself. Maybe you could help our audience, maybe other people who are in the same boat as you. What could you offer?
Yeah, I've really taken this time to, as much as my kids drive me bananas, and everyone's do, their kids, it's kind of part of their job, but um, I've really taken this as a positive for rebuilding my relationship with my children. And we had gotten to a point where I have a 13-year-old son who thinks his mom is an idiot. And before we were at stay at home, him and I were not really communicating. We kind of passed each other in the hallways, would see each other at the dinner table, but that was really about it. And through this, I've really reconnected with my kids. And, we don't have the pressures of like, rushing to work, rushing home from work. We got to get to soccer practice or dance practice, or we've really had time to sit down and really reconnect as a family. And that's been huge. And my son and I have come out of this in a very different relationship than we did when we started. He and I are very close. He kind of made a joke that he was like, Mom, geez, you're super funny. I was like, yeah, kid, I know. Like, if you would have actually hung out with me before this, you might have found that out. But it's been slowing down and knowing that, nope, I can't be great at work and schoolwork and home and keeping a perfect house and I can't do it all. And no one can. And holding yourself to that standard will just make you just more anxious and upset. So slow down, take time with your kids, do fun stuff that, like buy a pool. I mean, I don't know, if you don't want to buy a pool, don't buy a pool. But do the things with them that you're usually too busy to do. And, for my youngest, she watches some weird YouTube show that I can't understand. But, if I sit down with
So
her
where can our
and just
audience
sit
find
next to
you
her and
online?
endure it for 20 minutes, she thinks it's the greatest thing ever. And before this whole pandemic, that would never have happened. I wouldn't have had time. So slow down, appreciate your kids, appreciate where you're at.
Okay. And what can we
And,
find there? Some
just try
dating
to stay
posts, some
positive the whole
family
thing. That's the only
posts,
way to
maybe
really
some
kind of get
personal.
through it.
No, I think this is great advice. I mean, I'm taking that in because I'm in a similar boat. I mean, it's sort of, I have 2 kids. I'm not on my own, and I can imagine how hard that would be. But definitely, like, the life in the fast lane life has changed. And like you said, just even having the time to be with your kids and acknowledge them and be present is very important. And I'm grateful for that time myself. So that's definitely, I know my sister's in your boat, similar. She's got 4. And her husband is not around too much. So yeah, I'm seeing parallels here. It's kind of interesting.
Absolutely.
Okay. All right, Sarah, where can we find you online?
Facebook. So it's Sarah Wilkins Dewbre. And I post stuff on there, usually pretty humorous. There's some dating diary posts. There's funny stories or things that my kids say that I try and keep it lighthearted. There's a lot of stuff going on in this world, and I'm pretty active, but for the most part, it's pretty just stuff to kind of make you laugh and giggle and stay positive and move on with your day.
And for those of you who want to stay creative at home, feel free to visit us at spygamestudios.com. There we have a bunch of creative people just like Sarah. Love to maybe introduce you guys, and feel free to join our community of creative people. All right. Well, Sarah, thank you so much for being a part of our show. It's been a pleasure to reconnect. I know it's been way too long. I wish you the best of luck as you're trying to, endure a bunch of screaming kids at the same time, be the leader of your team. So it's been fun. Thank you so much for the advice, and we'll see you soon.
All right. Good to see you, Alex.
You too.
Bye.